What's going on, guys? Welcome to Valley Sports Talk. Here with our new podcast. On our podcast, we're mainly going to be focusing on NFL, NBA, and NHL. My name's Noah. I'm here with...
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Max.
And to start our podcast off, we're going to go a little bit of background information on ourselves and why we decided to start the broadcast. So I'll turn it over to Brandon first.
So like I said, my name's Brandon. I played football, hockey, baseball. I like to play all the sports. I'm in university right now taking teaching. I just like to talk about sports and argue with these guys.
My name is Max. Just like these guys, I played football, hockey. I played also soccer. I was into tennis, but mostly basketball, football, and hockey are my passions, and that's what we're going to be talking about here. And I'm actually really excited for it. We're going to start off with our Super Bowl predictions, and we're going to talk mostly football just for this segment. But why not, Noah? You start off with our introductions. What do we got for today?
So my name's Noah, obviously. I'm also into football, basketball. I play a little golf on the side. Not very good at it, but I still play it. Better than Brandon. But on today's agenda, we got our Super Bowl predictions. We're going to be going over our score, our MVP, what each team has to do to win, stuff like that. We got three segments, side segments for you guys. We got top five segment. We got our overrated, underrated, perfectly rated. And we have our Would You Rather. So we're going to get right into our Super Bowl predictions. Anybody want to go first?
Yeah. Super Bowl predictions. My Super Bowl winner. The Green Bay... Oh, crap. Okay, so we got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is going to be a very close game. I have the Chiefs winning 31-24. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be your Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
You went with the easy one, eh?
Yep, of course. You can't bet against the Chiefs.
Fair enough. Okay. I'll go next. I went a different route as B-Well. I'm going Tampa Bay. 27-23. Super Bowl MVP. Got to go the classic. Got to go Tom Brady. Tom Brady's game. He's been there more than anybody, I believe. Could be wrong, but I believe. So yeah, I went the opposite route as B-Well, and I went Tampa Bay. So we'll give it over to Max there.
Okay, so I was logical and picked the Chiefs, 34-27, and the MVP was also logically, the guy that's in his prime, not...
He's only 25.
Patrick Mahomes. That's my MVP, 34-27. It'll be close. I think Brady will keep it in there. I still think he's that guy, but like I said, the Chiefs all around are gonna definitely beat the Bucks. So that's my personal.
Okay, Noah, we'll start with you because you think the Bucks are gonna win.
Fair enough.
What do you think the Bucks have to do to beat the Chiefs?
Bucks need to get pressure on Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs have a bit of a weaker offensive line. They had Duvernay Tardif opt out start of season. He's a very good above average left tackle for them. The Bucks have They have a very good D line with Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, and Jason Pierre-Paul. So they need to get at Mahomes, and they need to force turnovers. And they also need to attack the Chiefs secondary. Other than Tyrann Mathieu and Juan Thornhill, they don't really have that great of corners. And whenever you have guys like Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown if he plays, and Mike Evans, you gotta attack the secondary.
Okay. So I do agree. I think the Bucks defense is undisputedly very good. They're not great. They're good. They're young, right? And it's gonna rely on if they're healthy as well. But what we know so far is the Chiefs haven't. There's no proof that it whatever defense that you throw at the Chiefs so far in the playoffs is gonna really stumble that Hills-Kelsey duo. And until the Bucks can really show that, then you can't really have 100% confidence in them, taking down Mahomes, taking down Hill, taking down Kelsey. I don't. It's really hard to get around that. As much as I love them, the Packers are a different story than the Chiefs, and it'll be a different thing. So that's what I think.
Totally, the Chiefs have way more weapons. I think for the Chiefs to win, or Tampa Bay for that matter, it's all going to be about the defense. We all know that Tampa Bay and Kansas City have two amazing offenses. Of course, with Tom Brady, you're always going to have a good offense no matter who's there. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, great offense. It's going to be about the defense. And in the playoffs so far, Kansas City allowed 17 to the Browns, 24 to the Bills. The Bucs allowed 23 to Washington, 20 to the Saints, and 26 to the Packers. So I feel whichever defense doesn't allow the other team to hit 30 is going to win the game. I think 30 is the mark to reach to win the Super Bowl.
That's very, yeah, that's it. I would agree with that point 100%.
So for some future episodes, we are going to get guest speakers. And today we are going to get one already. We're going to get our buddy Braden. Braden played...
Braden Fisher, just to clarify.
Braden played many sports with us, but we'll get his little introduction there once we call him. So Brandon's going to give him a call here, put him on speaker, and he's going to give you guys his predictions for the Super Bowl.
Braden has history in running back, and...
we'll let him say that.
Okay, well, he might not... Anyway, this is Braden Fisher.
Hello, Braden. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Braden Fisher, joining on the call.
Okay.
Is that all you got to say about yourself?
Give us some more background. Like
What sports you play?
Why are you qualified to be a guest speaker on our podcast?
Well, play a little bit of hockey. Yeah, played some football back in high school.
What'd you play in football?
Yeah, give us what positions you play?
Pure league baseball.
Pure league baseball. He's
Braden,
qualified,
what
as you can
play
see.
in football, we gave ours.
What was that?
What position are you playing in football?
What position? Running back.
Okay.
Oh, he was the star running back for your Mackenzie Mustangs. Yeah. All right, Braden. Max and I think the Chiefs are going to win in a close one. Noah has the Bucs winning in a close one. What do you got to say about it?
Well, I'm taking the Chiefs 31-27.
31-27.
I like that. That's what I had. Hey.
What was that?
There you
I
go.
said I think it's going to be a close game, back and forth the entire way through the Super Bowl.
Who's your MVP?
Who's my MVP?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with... Well, usually the quarterback position gets the MVP, so I'm taking Mahomes as well.
Hey!
Patty Mahomes, out of
Wild
boy.
pick there, Brady, wild pick.
What a shocker. No one knew that one was coming. Okay, last question for you, Bray, before we let you go. What does each team have to do to win?
Well, I think for the Bucs, the defense is going to have to be big here for the Super Bowl because the way that the Kansas City Chiefs have their offense set up, they're a deadly force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
so
for
I think the Bucs have to tighten up their defense, which they have been doing really well over the past couple of weeks. Especially the fact when they played in Green Bay, they actually had their defense was really good.
Bray, we don't talk about that. Keep going.
Anyways, I think that the Bucs defense is going to have to be big, and the Kansas City offense is going to have to be watching for that one.
So you're thinking it's a offense-defense will determine the game.
They say defense wins championships, so.
Right.
Well, then why'd you pick Kansas City?
Because with Kansas City, they got obviously you got Mahomes in the backfield playing really well this past season. You got the number one ranked wide receiver in the NFL, the quickest guy. You got Tyreek Hill on the outside.
Wow, that's bold.
And you also got Travis Kelce and even, Hardman, number 17, even coming up, being a big player on their team.
Can I argue with you for a second on that?
Sorry, Bray, we got a Julio Jones fan here.
No, not even that. Did you just say Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in the NFL?
Did I say that?
You can put the phone right here. They can probably hear it.
Think so?
I think so.
What about my boy Adams here, Devontae?
Adams?
Yeah.
What do you got on that? You said Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in the league. You gotta give some background for that.
Well, if you take a look, so when they play against the Bucs in the regular season,
Okay.
look at Tyreek Hill first half had over 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns.
You know why? Because he's on his fantasy team.
He knows.
Is this because he was on your fantasy team? He got you about 50 points.
57 to be exact.
had
Attaboy.
you have that written down, don't you?
Well, no, what? I fucking remember that because
No,
it's.
I don't.
Fraser.
That's the first game I won.
Of course you know that,
Is
Fraser.
that against you?
Of course you know
What?
that.
Yeah, no, I was the one that traded Tyreek Hill.
And
so-
Mahomes. You traded Mahomes too.
That was your first mistake, Matt.
No, it was my only option, remember? I was taught in a situation where I was going to lose and not make it to the playoffs if I didn't have a healthy quarterback.
And what happened?
Mahomes went, I still
You
didn't
lost.
make it to
You
the
still didn't make
playoffs.
the playoffs.
So, you know what? Hey, whatever. Anyways.
Well, Bray, we thank you for giving your call, and we'll definitely be giving you a shout in some future episodes.
Yeah, sounds good. And, yeah, you guys have a good one, eh?
Yeah, see you later, Bray.
See you, Brett.
All right, well, there you have it. Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in the NFL, according to Braden Fisher.
Joins the podcast for the first time, starts throwing shade right away.
That's a
He
bold
came,
move.
he came with facts. He came with facts. And
He came with
had-
fantasy
You
facts.
only
that's all
know that
he
because
knew.
he got you 57.
57 to be exact. He definitely had that written down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, no way he remembers that.
No.
You just wanted to throw it at Max.
Well, so yeah, there's our first guest call. We'll be having some more of those whenever we feel it's necessary, but we had to bring in Braden Fisher for the first one.
And you guys can see why. Now, how do we get back on track?
Now we're going to get back to our little script here.
Okay.
So we're going into our top 5 segment for, so basically it's kind of how it sounds, your top 5, and we pick certain strands of what we think it will be. So for the first one, we got our top 5 players who could impact the outcome of the Super Bowl. Anybody want to go first?
I'll take it. The top 5 players that can change the outcome, I think you'd be silly not to put either quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. If one of them plays amazing, their team will probably win the game. If one of them is not on their game, they do not have a chance. On Patrick Mahomes' side of the ball, obviously you got Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They're going to get their looks regardless of who the defense they're going against. So I picked Scotty Miller. Oh, no. Nicole Hardman. Scotty Miller does not play for the Chiefs. I picked McCole Hardman. He had a little mishap there in the game and then brought it back with a big touchdown. I think he's someone who, if he can have a big game, is going to change the outcome. On Tampa Bay's side of the ball,
Can
I
I cut you
also...
off there for a second?
No.
Please.
No.
B-Well knows a lot about that game because he is a Packers fan. So you know the disappointment he's feeling.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Scotty Miller real quick because I don't want to. Scotty Miller, he undoubtedly changed the outcome of the Green Bay game, scoring a touchdown late in the second half. The defense was weak, and we just won't talk about it. The last outcome isn't a player. It's like I said before, it's a defense. The team with the better defense, I think, can easily take this football game.
I would have to agree with that. So just to agree with, yeah, I think the Bucs defense is very good. I'm reading up here. It seems like the Bucs pass rushing bookend is Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. They combined for 17.5 sacks in the regular season, 5 sacks in the NFC Championship game against your Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And who was one of the least sacked quarterbacks this year, right? So you don't know, right? And Aaron Rodgers is around the same level as Mahomes, and you got to put him in that same conversation of avoiding that contact.
Packers have a good O line too.
Exactly. 100%.
Like, sure, they're missing David Bakhtiari, but they have a good O line. Like Elton Jenkins, you got Corey Lindsey, I think is their center.
Yeah. Their all line's one of the best ones, and the Bucs just ran right through it all night long. Aaron Rodgers had no time.
All right, I'll go next. Yeah. So for my top 5 impact players, I'm gonna list them off first, and then I'll go back into detail with them. 5, I got Tom Brady. 4, I got Shaq Barrett. 3, I got Devin White. 2, I got Tyrann Mathieu, and 1, I got Antoine Winfield Jr. For Tom Brady, it's kind of obvious, as Brandon said, quarterback. He's Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady's a bad night, then that's still any other quarterback's average night. So you just kind of hope you're getting that. Shaq Barrett, like Max was just saying, they combined for 17.5 sacks with Pierre-Paul, and then they had 5. I think Shaq Barrett had 3 because Pierre-Paul had 2. So Shaq Barrett had about 3 sacks against a good O-line. And then you have a weakened Chiefs O-line. If Shaq Barrett has a heyday, then good luck, Patrick Mahomes. I'll kind of put Devin White and Antoine Winfield Jr. together because they're mostly going to be covering Travis Kelce. That's not easy. Like, I'm no football analyst here, but Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football. And
What?
he is,
What about Robert Tunyon? Mercedes Lewis. You're
He's
forgetting.
old.
Yeah, I know.
and he's very good. So usually they have a linebacker or safety on it. Antoine Winfield's is a rookie, so if he's on him for most of the game, it'll be a great task for him. He was a very good rookie this year. He was probably top 2 in rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year voting after the first 5 games. He was hurt in the NFC Championship game against the Packers. He didn't even play, so the Bucs are getting another great piece back to their secondary. And then Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann Mathieu's just an all over the place. He's a sideline to sideline guy. He can get in the box. He can, I don't even know how many. He had a good amount of sacks this year, and he's a safety. And then obviously he's also great in coverage. So you put him on Gronk. Gronk doesn't get very many targets, but when he does, they're usually pretty big. So if you put Tyrann Mathieu on him, that's just one more level of not getting the ball to Gronk.
Yeah, because we all know Tyrann Mathieu is going to stop Gronk. No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
I never said it's gonna not happen. I'm just saying that
Limit.
they'll limit.
Right.
It'll limit, yeah. But I think regardless, Gronk's still going to get a couple of those. I think Gronk's a big time player, right? This is his mojo. He's been here more than anyone else aside from Brady, right?
He's got to win so he can party.
Speaking of Gronk, did you guys see the thing that came out yesterday?
What? Yeah.
The thing about his sprinting, his
Yeah,
virtual workouts.
Yeah.
He did it all in one
He
day.
did it all
but wore a
one day,
different
but wore a
shirt.
different shirt and just sent them in on different days.
That's the most
Yeah.
Gronk thing.
Bruce
I've ever
Arians
heard.
thought his worth ethic was huge.
He'll have some impact in this game. I think Gronk will definitely have some.
Oh, Gronk always has an impact anytime
Well, you saw
Tampa
that.
Bay's in the
Yeah.
red zone.
He had one catch last game against the Packers. It was
Yeah.
like one catch for 33
It was-
yards. It was a tight end screen.
Oh,
Like who the
he's
heck runs
great.
tight end screens?
It was a tight end screen. He made it 30 yards. The play lasted about 40 seconds because it took him that long to get 30 yards. But nobody on Green Bay wanted to touch him because he's so scary.
Okay, we'll hand over to Max there for his top five.
For my top 5 impact players. So I had at number 1 Mahomes. So
Who's that?
Heard?
Who's that?
Who's
that-
Patrick
that-
Mahomes?
Who's Patrick
For
Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes. So he's this quarterback guy type. I don't know. Anyway, he's kind of good at football. Anyway, my point is what I believe to believe. So can't talk. What I'm arguing for number 1 Mahomes is because although he was kind of injured, battered up the game against the Bills, I think him coming back and having this rest, we could get I don't know, a pretty insane performance. I can't see Patrick Mahomes shying away from the moment, not being able to deal with the spotlight or any of that. I think if we have a healthy Mahomes here, and each year he's proven to be better than the last, and each year he's proven to be able to get here, I think it comes down to him, really taking over this game if he wants to. He has the ability to, more than anyone else on this field. If we're coming down to the best player on the field, he's that guy. So, yeah, I think for sure he's the number 1 impact player. Number 2, I was considering a Bucs player. I definitely wanted to put Brady up there, but I have to say Kelsey, right? So, if Kelsey's actually on fire, I have a tough time believing the Bucs are winning this game. If you have Kelsey, just dominating and consistently being able to get thrown to, then that means the rest of their defense is crumbled already. I would have a really tough time seeing the Bucs seeing any success if Kelsey is, the top that he can be. When he's putting up those big numbers, you look back at this season, the Chiefs are not losing. My third, this has to go for the Bucs. If I do see the Bucs winning, I would have to say it would be the run game. Although I do like Brady and I do have him playing well in this game, I'd say it comes down to Leonard Fournette and how well they run it up that middle. Because they've proven that over the past 3 games, they've relied on Fournette, and he's done well for them. He's been consistent. He hasn't necessarily blown away in the stats, but he's been consistent and he's been a ground and pound. And the Chiefs are a good D, but, it comes down to just playing that strong, sturdy run game that the Bucs have. Although, of course, they have all the talent on the outside as well. But I do think that run game contributes to the Bucs winning for sure. If they have a great running game, then the Chiefs definitely have a chance of losing. And then my 4th impact player. So that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I had him at number 4 because although I am just holding off, and actually I'll just say that for, I won't tell you guys yet, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I believe, although he's just a rookie, he's proven that he's their number 1 running option. Although you have Hill on the outside, 100% the Chiefs. If he's going, then you're not stopping this team 100%. Although that if you have Kelsey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Mahomes going, then yeah, you're probably winning this game. But even just him on his own, he'll rep up. And then for my 5th impact player, of course, is the GOAT, Tom Brady. The reason why I had him so low was because he's, well, you know, he had a good game against Rodgers last time, but he didn't have a great game. You know, he
had a good first half.
Yeah, he good first half, right? And although I think he is gonna show up, just like I think Mahomes is gonna show up, I don't think he's gonna be. I don't see him blowing out, right? Like, and I don't see him screwing up terribly either. It's gonna be probably what he's been doing, which he's maintaining, which is just this consistency that no one else has been able to show, and that's why he's there. So he'll be an impact player, but I don't see him taking control of this game. I don't, but we'll see.
Okay. What do you guys think about Brady's legacy if he wins? Like, what does, like, we are, like Max said, I don't know if B-Well agrees, but
I agree.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time. But what does, if he wins the Super Bowl, I think this will be his 7th.
This
Super
is
Bowl?
his 7th, yeah.
This will be his 7th. What happens, like, if he wins? Like, what does that mean?
Well,
for
here,
Brady?
Noah, I'll let you start, but I'll throw you some stats, okay?
Yeah, okay, give it to me.
Tom Brady, 19 seasons, 18 times in the playoffs. He has 6 Super Bowls in 9 attempts, and out of the 6 times he won the Super Bowl, 6 times out of the 6 Super Bowls he's won the MVP 4 times.
Julian Edelman, the GOAT.
So if he wins his 7th Super Bowl in 10 times and wins 5 playoff MVPs, who's better?
I'm not a math guy, but 70%, you're going into the championship game, 7, and you're winning it 7 out of 10 times. That's insane. Like, I like my stats, but I'm not a math guy. But 70%, you like have 70%. You won 70% of the games that you went into there.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane. Like, that's like saying you're gonna win 70 out of 100 games in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, no.
Like what you said, he's been in the Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs 18 times.
Of his 19 seasons.
What was, do you have the record of him whenever he didn't make it?
He was 9-7.
He was still, that's still above 500 record.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like in the NFC Championship game, I was cheering for the Packers because I'm not a Brady fan, but I had the Bucks winning. If that makes any sense.
Yep.
So I don't know. You just can't bet on Tom Brady. Like, came out of the 4th round.
Bet against.
Bet against, sorry, yeah. Came out of the 4th round, and he made the playoffs in his rookie year, right? Or no, I don't even think he was in the.
No, he filled in, right?
He filled in.
Yeah, 19 full seasons is what I was looking.
So he made the playoffs in his 2nd season. I'm pretty sure I don't remember what he did under Drew Bledsoe in 1997.
Let me throw it up. I'll search it up right now. But yeah, the fact that you're playing 19 full seasons and you're making the playoffs 18 times. The one time you don't make it, you went 9-7. So yeah, in the
9-7, you still made the playoffs. The freaking Bears made it this year at 8-8.
He only played 1 game in the year 2000, his first one. His rookie season, he played 15 games. Started
Rookie season.
His sophomore season. Sorry, he went 11-3.
And his sophomore season.
So we know, but like the thing is the question is, can Mahomes surpass him? Will Mahomes surpass him?
I can't. There's a chance. Like, he's a great quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the league. He's like 25, and he already has 2 All-Pros, a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl, like 2-time Pro Bowl. There's a chance, but he's also gonna have to play till he's friggin' 45. Tom Brady came out yesterday on the media day and said he probably will play past 45. He turns 44 in August, and he will play past 45.
As much as everybody's like, oh, Brady and Mahomes in the Super Bowl, it's a good game to compare because you got Mahomes, who's in his 3rd season. He's made the playoffs every year.
3rd starting season,
sorry. He's 1 for 1 in the Super Bowl. He got the MVP that time. If he can beat Brady and win the MVP, go 2 for 2 in MVP, Finals MVP, 2 for 2 in the Super Bowl, and drop Brady to 6-10, that's a good stepping stone to
60%
catch up.
60% is way different than 70%.
And if
Still amazing.
well, that would be Brady dropping to 60% and Mahomes climbing to 2-2.
to 100%.
Yeah, but only
If
2-2.
2-2, I guess.
It's a good
The
start.
thing is, if Mahomes loses this game, it's done.
It's going to be hard.
No,
because
you
even if
can't-
Mahomes,
there's no discussion. There's no.
that's the
there's
problem.
no-
Even if Mahomes puts up the same numbers at the end of his career, everyone will be
No,
like,
because
"Yeah,
this-
but when they played,
they-
Mahomes lost."
And this isn't even prime Brady. We all know that. This isn't.
He's 43.
He's 43. Like
Yeah.
we do know that. If you put prime Brady against prime Mahomes, then you can say who's the best. But if you put prime Mahomes against aging Brady and aging Brady's still winning, then like it's obvious, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
you can't deny that. Mahomes can go
Mahomes
off,
is a
but
amazing talent. He's arguably, or I don't know, undisputed between us three, probably the best quarterback in the league right now. Got the most talent.
He has
But
the most upside,
Brady
for
has
sure.
too many accolades for him to compete with.
I think all three of us would agree. Our confidence, if we had one person to pick to start our team, especially at any position, I think it would be Mahomes.
Yes, 100%.
You know, like there's no denying that.
But if we were to pick the greatest of all time, we're all picking Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's just a different conversation.
I'm looking
I think
at-
it's pretty. It's been like I don't know, established. I think people know that. But yeah. Anyways, Brandon.
I am looking at his stats since 2010. What do you think his worst record has been in the past
Since
11
2010?
years?
He's
Since
had
2012.
I believe he's
Since
had
10
a
and
since
10
20
6.
he's had a winning record every
10
year,
and
right?
6.
Is
Yeah.
he- yeah, winning record every year.
Didn't he go
In the
10,
past
didn't he go
11
10
years.
6 last year?
No.
The Patriots?
No,
Oh,
he
they
went
went
12-4.
12-4.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 10 6 is worst record.
Yeah,
In
same
the past
here.
11 years?
Yeah.
In the past 11 years, his worst record was this year, 11-5. He hasn't been worse than 11-5 since 2009, where he went 10-6.
Wow.
And then the year before he went 10-6, he was 16-0.
Incredible.
Yeah, I forgot they had that season. They got fooled by the Giants on the helmet catch.
Yeah. Brady has had one season in his career where he hasn't had 10 wins, and that was the one year he
nuts.
didn't make the playoffs at 9-7. So to catch Brady, like if we're just looking at playoff and Super Bowls, to catch Brady, to have to play for 20 some odd years and have one season under 10 wins, that's hard to replicate.
So do we want to move over to our overrated, underrated?
Yeah, we'll go into our overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated segment. So basically, for this segment, we told each other to pick two players and put them in the chat, and we are gonna say if we think they're underrated, overrated, or perfectly rated. My player is first. I'll let you guys talk first about him. My first player is Levante David. So you guys can go ahead. Whoever wants to take the floor.
Do you wanna go?
So what do you have to say about it? Was he underrated,
No,
overrated?
I'm gonna let you guys.
Well,
go
it's your
first.
player.
No,
You
but
go.
he's your player.
Okay,
What do
fine.
you believe?
Okay, he's underrated. 2013 All-Pro, 2015 Pro Bowl. You know, he's a great coverage linebacker, and you send him on a blitz, he's even great.
Has he been doing anything recently?
I'd have to check his stats. I looked at them last night, but
So,
Okay, well, I'll take it while Noah's searching his stats.
oh, but you have to tell me, what do you think?
Oh.
Are you arguing Levante David though?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
go ahead. If you found his stats.
you know, he's been a top 7 middle linebacker the last 10 years. I think he's been in the league, but nobody talks about him. You got like your Bobby Wagners, you got your Luke Kuechly's. Obviously, he's not up there, but he's been not talked about for about 5-7 years. So that's why I personally think he's an underrated player.
Personally, I think he's overrated. I was watching the Packers game, of course, and I couldn't stop hearing his, like, they just kept announcing his name, that he's a big impact player and does all this, all that. So I searched up his stats, and I'm not an avid Tampa Bay Buccaneers watcher, so he could have more of an impact than his stats say. But in his stats, he's a second-round pick. In his first 4 years in the league, he had 13 sacks, 570 tackles, 9 picks, which is pretty good. In his last 5 seasons, he's had less sacks, less tackles, and only 3 picks in his last 5 seasons. In his last 5 seasons, which is considered entering and becoming in his prime, he has had worse numbers in 5 seasons than his first 4. And they're not similar. They're not even close. 9 picks. He's had 3 picks in his last 5 seasons. And he's in his prime.
He's turned into, I guess, my point here doesn't really matter. He's turned into like a coverage linebacker. So or even not even this year. He wasn't much of a coverage linebacker this year. Like this year, he's an inside linebacker. So he's kind of like he's on the running back, and like the only quarterback that checks down is friggin' like Jared Goff or somebody like that. They just check down all the time. Where if you're going against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to check it down. He's got a deep threat in
I think he's perfectly rated.
Valdez Scantling, and then he's got Devontae Adams, who's arguably the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
And then you got Aaron Jones, who's not very much of a threat out of the backfield unless he has the ball in his hands.
Okay.
Well, Max?
I would have to say perfectly rated. I agree with both of your guys' points, but yeah, I would say he's I mean, if he's talked about like how much you're saying he's talked about Brandon, then maybe I would say he's overrated a little bit. He doesn't jump out at me, that's for sure, but yeah, I'll say perfectly rated just for the fact that he probably will have an impact on this game and he will do something, and I don't see him necessarily not, like, I mean, I agree with your points, Brandon. He definitely is decreasing, but he's still, it seems like for the past 2 or 3 games even, he has been talked about because he has had some impact, right?
Oh, yeah. When I say he's overrated, I definitely don't say he is a detriment to a team.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, you'd rather have a guy like Levante David than not.
Yeah, 100%. So, I agree with that. And that would move me on to my player. So I had Jason Pierre-Paul. So I think he is a little bit underrated myself. You're gonna probably notice that there's a similar pattern in all the players we picked. We all probably think they're underrated, but Jason Pierre-Paul is, in my opinion, underrated because he has just ripped up in the past 2 or 3 games, and it's kind of went a little bit unnoticed. I'm not saying we haven't talked about it or discussed it or aware of it, but yeah, he has led with 17.5 sacks. Sorry, I had it up here before.
That's your prediction.
He had like 16 and a half sacks in his like his second year in the
Yeah,
league.
but no, I don't know.
This year?
He
He had 9.5.
Yeah, this year at 9.5.
Second season in the league, it's 16 and a half sacks. That's more than the sack leader had this year, I believe. I believe TJ Watt had 15 or 15 and a half.
So he had, okay, so even in the slot, yeah, for against Green Bay, for example, he had 2 QB hits.
He was all over the place.
Yeah,
against
he was
Green
all
Bay.
over the place.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
two sacks. You know, 2. Yeah, so I don't know my numbers really well, but he's 100% a huge impact. And we're talking about Green Bay or Tampa's defense. We're talking about Chiefs offense, but we don't really talk about specifics on our Tampa defense. And I would say, yeah, Pierre Elliott would be my
Pierre Elliott.
Pierre Paul.
Personally, I think he is perfectly rated. He was a first-round draft pick, and as a first-round draft pick, he was supposed to be an all-star talent. He reaches high numbers of sacks each year. He contributes in the rushing game. He forces fumbles. He even gets up and grabs a few interceptions. He had 2 this year. I think if you're a first-round pick, this is how you should be playing.
This is where I get mad. See,
you can go ahead.
Yeah, I brought up his name before this little talk show started, and he didn't even know who the guy was.
And then I searched
so
him
he's
up,
talking
and now
about All-Star, saying he's perfectly young.
You're getting
He is
exposed. You're getting
That's
exposed
fine.
on live here.
That's fine.
Personally, I got him underrated. He's on the other side of Shaq Barrett. I believe Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks last year with 18 and a half. Could be wrong. Don't quote me there. But he is a 3-time Pro Bowl, 1-time All-Pro. He was All-Pro in his second year in the league. And I've not been, like, past 3 years, I've started to get, like, 100% into football, like, talking about it. Years before that, I didn't hear about his name until last year. And then, like, last year watching highlights. And then all of a sudden, I go back, look at his stats, and he had 16 and a half sacks. Like, he has 89 sacks in his, I think, 10-year career.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
What is he? Is he 6'5", 275? Holy shit.
He's 32. He got drafted in 2010, so he's been in the league for 11 years. He's got 89 sacks.
He's a D end, yeah. So he's gonna be.
That's pretty good in my eyes. So I got him at underrated.
All right. All right, let's move on to Leonard Fournette. Personally, if we're talking about regular season, I think you could place him as overrated. He had basically 360 yards through the season, 6 touchdowns, 233 yards in the air so you can combine those for basically 600 yards over the regular season. He's split in time with Ronald Jones, but he was a high draft pick. They brought him in to have a new home, to build new chemistry and try and find his old self. And he just didn't find that. But the reason I'm saying he's perfectly rated is because of the way he's been in the playoffs. He has a touchdown in every game. He's been a vocal point in the offense, and he's definitely turned his season around in the playoffs. He's playing when he needs to play, and he's doing a great job, I think.
I'll go. Personally, I got him perfectly rated. Could lean to overrated, could lean to underrated, but I'm just going to stick it perfectly rated. He had a great season in his rookie year, just over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. The back last year, I'll talk about it in a second. He had a great year. He was injured in 2018. This year, he came into the Bucs. They signed him after he got cut by the Jags. He always, like Beal said, he lost touches with Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones is a great, above-average running back. He does have the chance to be a great running back, but it's just got to be that system for him. Personally, I believe Tampa Bay does have the system for him. Obviously, you're not going to get as many touches with Tom Brady as your quarterback, but just Tampa's got that system for him. Going back to 2019, last year he had 1,152 yards, and then the Jags cut him this year. He got drafted 4th overall for a reason, and then after 3 seasons, the Jags just cut him. So if I was Tampa Bay person, I'd be licking my lips. Sign him for, I don't know how much they signed him. Sign him for $2 million.
He's definitely finding his groove in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He had a great game against Beal's Packers last game, the NFC Championship. He just, personally, I don't know what they'll do next year, if they'll re-sign him. I think he's just on a 1-year deal. Could be 2, but they have to decide, do they want to stay with Leonard Fournette? Because he's only 26.
Yeah.
He's young.
He's young. Yeah. He's got room to grow still. It's only his 4th year in the league.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to decide, do we want Leonard Fournette? Do we want Ronald Jones?
Sorry, so you're saying he's perfectly under...
I'd say he's perfect, but you could lean that he's overrated, but he also could lean that he's
I
underrated.
said in the regular season you could put him as a bit overrated, and then his actions in the playoffs have put him back to perfectly rated.
Okay, so I mean, honestly, yeah, I agree. Perfectly rated. I can't knock his play. He's been trending up, although he has been dismissed as one of the best running backs in the league. Of course, we know he's not that guy, but yeah, I would agree with perfectly rated, just for the fact that especially considering this game and this game coming forward, how he's going to have an impact in this game. You can't diminish his play. You can't say that he's not going to be an impact player for years to come. So yeah, I think he's perfectly rated for sure.
I'm up.
Yeah.
My second player, Sammy Watkins, is overrated.
Oh, okay.
He's my own player. I'm overrating him.
Okay.
Drafted 4th overall to the Bills, I think, in...
Yep.
I don't know. I don't remember what year. I'll just pull up his stats here. I had them up earlier.
He's played, it would have been like...
Over his career, he
2011.
has 321 receptions for just over 4,500 yards. 14 yards a reception, 33 touchdowns. I mean, they don't sound like awful numbers, but you got to factor in he's a 4th overall pick. I don't know who else was in that draft class in 2014, but I'm gonna assume he was the first receiver taken off the board. Billy, you want to get me some other receivers?
Yeah, but
You
in that
keep
class?
talking.
This year, he was only played 10 games, I believe. He was out for a bit. But over his career, he had a great sophomore year, over 1,000 yards, but he hasn't reached that plateau since. He's been going down ever since, really. So, personally, with his contract, get paid close to a top 10 receiver in the league, I think he's overrated.
So funny enough, in the first round, in the top 15, there were 3 players selected. Sammy Watkins 4, Mike Evans at 7, which is kind of funny that they're playing against each other, and Odell.
I'd personally take Odell and Mike Evans over Sammy Watkins in a heartbeat.
I hope so. Yeah, so that's a given. I agree. He's overrated. Sammy Watkins, you should not be in the NFL anymore. That's how bad.
Wow.
That's a bold one.
Wow. Okay, time for me to fight. I'm gonna say, I'm cutting you off. He's underrated.
Okay.
He's definitely underrated. He's a top 4 pick. He played for the Bills. His first 3 seasons.
Why is that? What does that mean?
What do you mean you played
Let
with
me
it?
talk.
You're saying he played for the Bills.
He
Like,
did.
That's it.
He did. He played for the
That
Bills.
makes him underrated. He
Yeah.
played for the Bills.
Bills Mafia. I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Aren't you a Bills fan?
I am, but I'm not an Evan Menard stan. I'm not that.
Anyways, 2,500 yards in his first 3 years in the league. He moves to Kansas City. He's played at Kansas City for 3 years. How many? He was like 400 and some yards in the air this year. You guys were saying he was injured some of the
He
year.
only played 10 games.
He played 10 games. He got 400 and some yards on 65% catching. I don't know how much better you can do when you have a Tyreek Hill and a Travis Kelce on your team. If he plays a full 16 games, he's probably up in the 700-yard range for the season, catching 65% of his passes. I think he should be in the league. He's 700 yards, 700 yards, 700 yards in a season, catching 65% of your balls. That's a good season, in my opinion. It's definitely not a top 4 draft pick season.
It's not over Mike Evans or Odell Beckham Jr.
But
He's not-
But if you put this guy on the Buccaneers and he is the main guy, he will be that
He can't be-
4th
he-
overall pick.
He can't. Where's he proven that in the past 4 years?
He's
No,
been
more
on
than
Kansas
4
City.
years.
He's been on Kansas City.
Pardon?
He's
The
been on
last-
Kansas City. He
No,
hasn't
but
been able to
like,
prove
look
it.
at look at
You're
him
behind
that,
Hill.
No, look in his last
hasn't-
year. Okay, look
Yeah,
at
he's behind
26
Hill, but that's about it.
Look
And
at him in
Kelce.
2016. Look at him in 2017.
Yeah.
2016, he had only 430 yards, and he was on Buffalo.
How many
2017, how many games?
14.
14.
No, 2016 only played 8
He
games.
only
8
played 8
games.
games. But 2017, he, to be fair, he came back from an injury. 15 games, 593 yards on 55%.
8 TDs, though. 8 TDs. His red zone stat that year, I guess.
Yeah.
Last year, I don't think he found the end zone until like week 13.
All I'm saying is I would not say he's underrated. He's
Well, I would.
overrated because for one, he was drafted too high because he wasn't consistent enough to put him over Mike Evans and freaking Odell Beckham. Like that's why you would consider him, and Noah would consider him as overrated.
Can you
He's
say
not-
that Odell Beckham is better than
Sammy
Mike
Watkins?
Evans?
Yes.
Yes.
Sammy Watkins? Yes, I can
Would
say
you,
Odell
would you
Beckham.
rather have your second receiver be Sammy Watkins or Odell Beckham Jr.?
It depends. Are we talking right now?
Yes.
What?
Yes, right
Today.
Did you see what happened to the Browns when he got hurt?
now. Okay, you tell
They,
me.
they still had a
honestly,
good record
they won.
before. They
Yeah,
still had a good
but
record
you're-
before he got
You're
hurt.
saying this to
Their stats, the Browns' stats
Wait,
improved greatly when he got hurt.
that's a reflection of the Browns. That's not a reflection of Odell. You and I both know Odell's better than Sammy Watkins at football.
Yes,
That was my
Sammy
question.
Watkins has never been
So that's
hasn't
why
been
I'm
like a
saying
number
he's
one
o-
option.
He was in
But
Buffalo.
Yeah,
he
but
was in
he's
Buffalo.
Young. He's young.
He's not
young.
young.
That's
He
when
was
Odell,
young in
that's
Buffalo.
When Odell
He was young in
That's what
Buffalo.
they drafted him for. They drafted him fourth overall.
Look,
Yes.
let's just do something here. Let's just
Okay, you go ahead.
talking about Odell Beckham and Sammy Watkins in the same sentence.
Sure, I don't think
Obviously, Odell is.
I don't think Odell's the greatest. Like he's top
Okay,
10 receiver
okay,
in healthy,
listen to
but-
this. Listen to this. For the first 3 years of Odell's fucking career, he puts up 1,300 yards, 1,400 yards, 1,300 yards
Yes.
on, gosh, 70%, 60%, 60%.
Yes. Odell's great.
And you're saying,
Odell's
and you're,
great.
yeah, but Odell's putting that up on more targets.
And there's been more scrutiny and more bashing of Odell this year than frickin' Sammy Watkins.
Okay.
Okay?
How many yards does Odell
I
put
like
if he's on
we're
the
having
Chiefs?
the biggest argument of the segment over Sammy Watkins.
Was because it's so disrespectful.
How many yards does Odell put up in a season if he's playing on Kansas City?
If he's playing on Kansas City,
Probably over 1,000.
I would say.
You think
I think-
Hill,
I think-
and Kelsey all put up over
With
1,000
having
yards?
Mahomes?
With having those three weapons, I wouldn't be handing the ball off at all. I wouldn't even be giving Clyde
If
Edwards
you,
the
have,
ball.
if you have Odell on the side, he's putting up at least 900. At least. You can't
Okay.
say.
Sammy Watkins is putting up 400, in a 15 game season in a 14 games last year, 14, he only had just over 600 yards.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
yeah.
You guys think he's overrated? I think he's a little underrated.
No,
Okay,
he's
fair enough.
He's exactly where the whole world wants him
Okay,
to
well-
be.
well-
Not talked about.
We'll let Max burn his smoke off with his next person.
All right,
Or this
so
might get worse.
yeah.
This might get better or worse.
This is what I was gonna say. I think Tyrann Mathieu is, in my opinion, perfectly rated. I believe he's been talked about. I think at this point, in comparison to last year, he kind of had this breakout. He was kind of this new name. This year, I think he's perfectly rated for the fact that he's going to be an impact player. We know he's going to be an impact player, and I think all three of us would agree that he's gonna make a disruption to Gronk. He's gonna make a disruption to Evans. He's gonna make a disruption to Godwin as well. So I think he's perfectly rated. I think the NFL community considers him, one of the top players in the league right now, and someone that's gonna make a huge impact in this game. So yeah.
Personally, and this might
You
put
say
a
personally a lot.
this might put a bandage over mine and Mac's argument here. I think he's underrated. He had 6 interceptions this year. Again, I like my Green Bay Packers, so I don't catch a lot of Kansas City games. But the boys were telling me he rushes the quarterback a bunch.
He doesn't get very many sacks, but I can't find QB
Sacks,
pressures.
he's not going to get sacked.
No, but
Yeah,
he rushes.
He puts
and
pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah,
like,
he puts pressure on the quarterback.
You saw
So
the
I
game-
don't think that's what he's not.
He's not
necessarily-
meant
No,
for that,
but
but
that's
meant to
that's
this
helps
if you
his
ask him
case,
to, if you
though.
ask him to do it, he will, and
Yeah.
he'll do it to a good extent.
So if he's a threat in your offense's passing game, and he's a threat to rush your quarterback, and he puts up 6 interceptions this year, he was a 3rd round draft pick, and for a 3rd round draft pick to be putting up these numbers, and his name not being like a vocal point when you talk about Kansas City, I think he's a little underrated.
Okay, so
I'll go the same as Max. I'll go perfectly rated. He's a top 5-6 safety in the league, depends who you talk to. Hard hitter, decent at coverage. Like I said, he'll put pressure on the quarterback if you need him to. This year, he was a first-team All-Pro, which means he was basically one of the top 2 safeties in the league. And he was also a Pro Bowler. He's also been first-team All-Pro 2 other times. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I saw this stat. Percentage of available snaps. There was 3 games where he wasn't 100% available snaps, which means he was in the game for every defensive snap. If you want to talk about like longevity or like being available, Tyrann Mathieu is gonna be that guy.
Do you expect a 3rd round draft pick to play 100% of the snaps every single game?
No, but
not in
we're
his
not-
rookie year.
we're-
Yeah,
no.
That's why I think he's underrated.
but I don't
He's
think
playing
just-
every game. He's a Pro Bowler. He's a 3rd round
maybe
draft pick.
there's a difference between being underrated because people aren't necessarily giving you the respect you deserve, but he's a 2-time Pro Bowl, 3 times All-Pro, Hall of Fame All 2010s team, and he's a Super Bowl champ. So like people know who he is. People discuss him. People are aware of his play. He's got a nickname that everyone, a lot of people know, Honey Badger, right? So
Do you know that?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my point. You can say he might be a bit underrated, maybe, but that's just based off the fact that everyone knows he's kind of been going up a little bit, and he's consistently been having these great players.
top 5 safety.
Yeah.
At least there's no arguments in this one.
Well, it's
Is
kind
this
of
the last one?
No, I got one. I got one.
This is the last
Okay,
one.
let's finish it off with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Personally, in people's eyes, I think he's perfectly rated. In Kansas City, I think he's underrated. He was a 1st round pick. He's a running back. They didn't have one.
When you mean underrated, do you mean in Kansas City?
In Kansas City's
do you mean,
eyes.
Do you mean like
They
the
don't-
fans?
Like,
they don't,
no,
they
like
don't
coaches.
utilize it. They don't
Coaches.
utilize it
I don't
enough?
think he's used.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think he's used to his full potential.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City fans and fans all around think he's great. I don't think the Kansas City front office. I think Kansas City front office underrates him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rookie. They didn't really have an all-star running back to begin
What do
with.
you mean? Le'Veon Bell's there.
Le'Veon Bell, yeah. Anyways, bringing Clyde Edwards-Helaire is exactly what they needed. In his rookie year, he was talked about for not being good in the red zone. He only had 5 touchdowns, didn't get a lot of touches in the red zone. He still had 800 yards on the ground and 300 through the air, which is a really good rookie season. And I was watching the game against the Bills, and there wasn't a lot of talk with him. So I searched up his stats after the game.
He didn't play in the Bills game.
Yes, he did.
No, he was hurt.
No, he won.
Oh no, he didn't play the game before.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He had, in the Bills game, he got 6 attempts on the ground. And for a player who's putting up 800 yards for you
He also
on the ground.
he's also coming off a high ankle sprain,
Yeah,
so they probably don't
he
want
might
to.
have it in.
They don't want to throw
Yeah,
like
I
12 to 15 attempts on him first game back from a high ankle sprain.
even in the regular season, like, he wasn't getting those. He was like not getting all those attempts that you'd like him to. I'll
the
search
thing
him
is, I don't know. I would disagree with that. I think he is. So you're saying he's perfectly rated?
I think he's perfectly rated in our minds and
Yeah.
underrated in Kansas City
Okay,
minds.
so I would argue. I would say he is perfectly rated at this point. You can't really argue against him at this point, considering he's had a stellar rookie year. You know, and he's a rookie. You know, you can't say. You can't. He doesn't have anything huge against his profile or his career yet so far. So I would say he is perfectly rated. I would argue that although they haven't utilized him necessarily enough, I think it's for good reason. I think it's because of the fact that he is a rookie, he's young, coming off injuries. 2, the Chiefs are already
Oh, yeah.
insanely good. So we don't need to necessarily, if there's any team in the league to say we're gonna let our running back, take his time into getting into his role, and we're not gonna put him in as much as we would say. Let's say, I don't know, put any other freaking player, put him on any other team in the league, and you're gonna see more touches. But because it's the Chiefs, because you have Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, it's just gonna be dispersed, right?
Yeah.
So
I just think
I agree, but not to the same extent.
With all the talk about him being bad in the red zone and all like that, it just kind of put his name down a little bit. I just did a little bit of quick math. He had, like I said, 800 yards on the ground on averaging about 13 and a half touches. To get 800 yards in a season, getting 13 and a half touches every game, those are good stats.
How many would he have if he played all games? How many yards would he have?
How many yards would he have?
Yeah.
13 and a half touches. And well, you haven't talked about him, so you talk
Okay,
about him.
I'm saying he's overrated.
Overrated.
So I had overrated. I did all this last night, researched all last night. Some of your guys' points that you guys made are really good points that would kind of lead me to say that he's underrated, overrated. The reason I'm saying he's overrated is because he was the first running back taken in the 2020 draft, and he, in my eyes, is probably the 5th best. They had the 5th best season. You got to think, would you rather have guys Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, James Robinson over him?
I don't think so.
You wouldn't rather have James Robinson who put up almost
Maybe
11
James
yards?
Robinson,
on
yes,
the Jacksonville
but you're
Jaguars,
seeing like
right?
people
Robinson's
like
on the
Jonathan
Jaguars,
Taylor.
right?
Jonathan Taylor, trust me, me and Max had him in
Yeah,
fantasy.
I know.
Yeah, but then he went nuts for Jay.
He went
in the playoffs. He went off for Jay.
He
He's the
just
reason that
found
Jason won the
he
whole
just
league.
found his place in the last probably 3 weeks of the season and the one game in the playoffs. But for a player like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's been consistent all year long.
Yeah.
I definitely would take Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, same here.
Right now.
100%. Right now, I although I like I like Taylor. I had him and he wasn't consistent, and there was times where he had huge games, huge games like as in like they meant a lot. And he did not do anything. He screwed.
Yeah.
He did. There was a lot of
And J.K. Dobbins is sort of in that same rank. Like I had him at the beginning of fantasy, and he sort of found himself at the end of the season as well.
He was like.
But you're fighting with Lamar Jackson
and
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like J.K.
You're putting
you threw Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the lead back. He went nuts the first game against Houston. Then he kind of cooled off and did like average stuff the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ravens didn't throw. Dobbins was still fighting with Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill. Lamar Jackson's basically a running back at quarterback.
he's your star running back.
Like J.K. Dobbins. The Ravens weren't playing Mark Ingram at the end. They were playing J.K. Dobbins over Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram
he had a great end of the season.
Mark Ingram was a Pro Bowler last year, and they're playing this rookie over him. Same with Jonathan Taylor. You got people like Naheem Hines. You got You had another, I forget they had another rookie. Then you have James Robinson. He's an undrafted rookie and he breaks the rookie record. I had him in fantasy. I loved him. I traded James Robinson.
Oh yeah,
I had him in fantasy. I loved him.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not arguing with
this one's
Robinson,
this one's a bit more thing, but DeAndre Swift, like, sure, he was great. You know, I'm a Atlanta Falcons fan, so I'm a Georgia Bulldogs college fan, so I loved him coming out of college because he's from Georgia.
Of course.
Sure, he didn't have a great season, but I'd still take his upside over Allaire, in my opinion.
Okay, so
that's my say on.
I'm not gonna lie. So if you look at Taylor's year against. No, that's what I'm saying. Just let me.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Anyways, what I'm saying is I might be going back against my previous point. I think Edwards-Helaire in comparison to Jonathan Taylor. Taylor had a way better season.
how many games did Jonathan Taylor play?
15.
15. Okay,
He played
so
13. That's only 2 less. He
He
had like
had
400 more yards than him.
Yeah, but you got to think about also team-wise. Like,
no, but so if you look
Indianapolis is running the ball a lot more than Kansas City is running the ball. I just did the math.
you're right.
If Clyde Edwards-Helaire averaged his numbers through the first 13 games in his last 3 games, he would have finished with 990 rushing yards.
How much did Taylor have?
He had 1,170.
On how many touches?
How many times?
5.
5?
No, not 5. Sorry, not 5. Sorry.
It'll go down a bit more still. It'll be here. 268. How many did Allaire have?
181.
No, he had 217.
That's counting playoffs.
Oh.
In the regular season, he had 181 touches. So, like, what is that, 80 less touches?
Yeah.
It's
Okay, I agree, but here's where I will. If you actually just look at the games.
obviously he's going to put up more stats, but they run more.
But not more stats. There's some games here where
he had some big games.
No, he had huge games. Like, that's where it comes down
His
to.
Houston game, his first game of the season.
Yeah,
he had a pretty good game. I don't remember exactly.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his first game rushed 25
yards.
times for 138 yards.
You gotta look here. Look.
Week
8 versus the Jets. He had 6 touches.
Yeah, he doesn't. And then the week after,
Yeah, but look at week 2. Okay, the last India when
He had
Indy
6
played.
in week. Sorry, Max. In week 14, he had 16 touches, only 32 yards.
That's poor.
Exactly.
But he's a rookie. You're gonna have those games.
But I'm saying, like, I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson, J.K. Dobbins over him. DeAndre Swift.
But
and
if you look at Jonathan Taylor's
he had 253 yards against Jacksonville, like
Jonathan Taylor,
yeah,
Jonathan Taylor had that was a big game.
It's also
But if you look at Jonathan Taylor's, how was Jonathan Taylor's first 10 games in the NFL?
22, 100 yards, 59 yards, 68 yards, 57 yards, 60 yards.
So it's relative
it's
numbers.
Not great.
He
it's
found
not,
just
found
like
his way at the end.
Jonathan Taylor and J.K. Dobbins found it at the end.
He went through basically his midway point of the season sucked.
That's because he started putting up.
He started fumbling.
60,
He had fumbling issues, I'm pretty sure.
And they started bringing in Hines.
Yeah, and then he went 90,
He was sharing
91,
times.
150, 83,
And then he found it.
74,
Yeah.
And then he found it.
78. Yeah, no.
But personally, I'm keeping Edwards-Helaire overrated.
And Max, you're saying he's what?
I think Max said perfectly rated.
Yeah, but
Okay, so we have an
Not a
underrated,
huge
perfectly
fan.
rated, and overly rated again.
Yeah,
That's good.
So
That's good.
We're sitting at 57 minutes right now. Almost done. We're getting there. Now we're gonna go to our potential bold or hot takes for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first.
Go ahead.
So I got the Bucks winning. Leonard Fournette, Super Bowl MVP.
holy
Really?
crap.
That's my bold take.
What do you
That's your
expect him
bold
to put up?
So you saw the game against the Packers.
Yeah.
He had when you give him the ball, that one touchdown. He had that spin move and then sort of like the dive.
Yeah, that was like a 20-yard run too.
20-yard run, and he got hit at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Breaks that tackle. If you don't have more than 2 guys tackle him, good luck getting him down. He's kind of like a Derrick Henry, but not as good as Derrick Henry, obviously. But personally, that's why I believe Leonard Fournette does have a chance. If he has a great game and he gets the touches he needs, he has a chance to win Super Bowl MVP. You saw it. Brady doesn't always win Super Bowl MVP. Julian Edelman won it with the Patriots.
Yep.
So that's my hot take.
Okay, my hot take is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are gonna pull another a choke
Don't say it.
So I think the Bucks in the past, I don't know, to end the season and in the playoffs, it just seems like they're there for a half and then they lose it in a half. And the half that they are playing well in seems to be the first half. So my bold prediction is that the Buccaneers are going to be up by 14 going into the half and then blow the lead and lose the Super Bowl in the second half.
Okay. That's not as bold as mine, though.
Good for you. You,
So
you win the bold contest.
I have two predictions. My first prediction is Sammy Watkins has recently been saying that he's very optimistic to be coming back. And
Wait,
that
what?
he's
We should
making-
just drop Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins.
We shouldn't
That's gonna be the title of this podcast.
Okay.
Why
Sammy Watkins or Odell?
Or Odell.
Okay. All I'm saying is this guy. My first prediction is he's gonna make 0 catches. He's not gonna make 1 catch. Even if he does play, he's not doing a thing.
Okay.
My second prediction.
You just hate Sammy Watkins now.
You really don't like that.
My second prediction is I believe the game winning drive, or no, sorry, not the game winning drive. I believe when the Chiefs win this game, which is what my prediction was, 31-27.
Yeah.
I believe.
Did Braden say the same thing?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
he
did.
did. It's the exact same.
So,
Not the same.
my personal opinion is that Brady will get the ball. He'll have one more shot at it. And I think, unfortunately, he's not going to get it.
No?
No. I think it'll go down.
You think Tom Brady will
I
have a
think-
chance to win?
I think
And
he'll
he
have a
won't?
chance.
think
I
it's
think
too-
he'll have a chance to get right back in the game with like 2 or 3 minutes left, and there's going to be that one more shot, and I think he's not going to be the Tom Brady that we always know. Not saying
Yeah.
he will not be consistent throughout the game, but I'm worried about that game winning drive. I want to see it, but I'm that's my big call. It won't happen.
And just remember, guys, bold predictions is not something we think is going to happen. It's just something that if it happens, we wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, I'm pretty sure about the Sammy Watkins. I'm pretty sure.
Max does not like Sammy Watkins.
No, we know
I think
that.
the reason he's mad because he could have had his favorite team was the Bills. Could have had Mike Evans or Odell Beckham Jr. still on their roster. If you have a guy like Odell or Sammy Watkins, unless you're the Giants.
I'm heated about Watkins because Brandon was trying to tell me he's in the same conversation as Odell Beckham and Mike Evans. And it's just now I don't like the guy. I'm nothing against him. Even though I started him one time and he did nothing for me.
So that's why fantasy ruined it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys want to do the Would You Rather?
We did. We
Or
did
you
a
wanna
lot of
talk
talking. We've
about-
done a lot of talking, so we don't have to do everything.
Let's talk about. No, we already talked about Mahomes.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah. Okay.
You just want to wrap her up?
Outro.
I think so.
All right. Well.
All right. Well, you want to go?
No
You wanna
problem.
do? Well, guys, this is going to be it for our first episode. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
See you
And
then.
give us any tips or comments, or if there's going to be any tips or comments.
What do you
Yeah.
guys, what sport do you guys want to do next week?
Well, we'll do.
we're
We'll
gonna-
talk
we're-
about. Well, next week
We'll
we're
look
gonna
back.
do our
Let's-
reactions.
yeah,
We're gonna
start
check.
look back
We're
at
gonna
our
check our
predictions.
bold predictions. The hockey season and the basketball season are just ramping up, so we'll probably start talking about that. If you guys have any suggestions for us, comments, please do leave them. Let us know what sports you played, what your favorite teams are, and we'll definitely be taking a look.
Yeah, for sure.
When
Awesome.
you guys say the Packers, I will hunt you guys down.
The Packers are the best. Go Leafs, go!
See you next week, guys.
Peace.
All right. Thank you.